Hello, my most amazing artist. I hope that you enjoyed seeing the work of Berthe Morisot, the French painter from the 1800s. So today we are going to kind of recreate some of her impressionistic work, and we are going to be drawing a vase of flowers. So you will have these at your table. You need a flat brush. This is a flat brush, and a round brush, and they're not very large. Each table will have a cup of black paint, a cup of white paint, and then you will have an egg carton that has your colorful paint. Uh-oh, I spilled that a little bit. You will also need just a sheet of plain white paper. This is going to be to kind of clean your brush off with because we are not using any water today. And you will pick a color of construction paper. So you can pick any color. I think I'm going to do pink. And you may want to start with a pencil. We're just going to lay out the drawing to begin with. I would use my hand for reference. So my hand's probably larger than yours, but if your hand takes up most of the paper, then just maybe use your fist. If you have a smaller hand, you can use your whole hand. But we are going to create a vase. So your vase can be any shape. It can be round, it can be tall and thin. You decide, but you need room at the top for your flowers, and you need room at the bottom for your table. So your vase is going to kind of take up half of this space. So I'm just going to do like a really round vase, and I'm using my hand so that I don't make it too big. And it's not perfect, so I need to work on it. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you just want to go for it without using a pencil, you can, but you'll be getting one sheet of paper. So I'm going to paint all this. It doesn't matter if I have extra lines. All right, and now for the flowers, I'm going to do about 5 flowers, and they can just be circles. You can do some big ones. You can do some small ones. So I'm going to just do about 5 circles, and then I'm going to do some leaves. Not many. And they can overlap, because see here, I'm going to paint over this. So they can overlap. You can put a little dot in the middle of each flower. Then we're going to take about halfway up your vase, you're going to draw the line for the table. And that's it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your round brush, your small round brush, and your black paint, and you're going to outline everything with a pretty thick black outline. Don't get paint way up here because you're not going to wash your brush out in water. So if you get way too much paint, you're not going to be very happy. Your painting's going to turn black instead of being colorful. So all I'm doing is I'm just outlining, and I want my outline to be thick. I'm outlining everything. Flowers, dots. I'm not going to outline this line because my flowers are going on top of that line. Okay, now with the extra black paint, I'm going to wipe it off down here under the vase. I'm going to put a lot of it right here under the vase because that might create some shadows. So my brush pretty much, I'm trying to get all the black paint off my brush. So instead of using water, I'm just wiping the extra paint onto my paper. Now I'm going to use my white paint. Oops. And I'm going to finish painting in here, and this is going to create gray. You don't have to paint the white solid, just get a good bit on there and then let some of your colorful construction paper show through. Alright, now I'm going to take my flat brush and I'm going to start painting the flowers. So I'm just going to set this one aside, and I'm going to start with lighter colors. So you can do any colors that you want on your flowers, but I'm going to start with lighter colors. So yellow would be my lightest color in my tray. And I'm going to kind of paint in a circular motion. You have to be careful. Your black is still wet. And you can mix colors. It's okay if a little bit of that black gets in there. It's not going to hurt anything. It actually gives it a little bit of texture, so it's kind of nice. Okay, now with what is extra on my brush, I'm going to wipe this off into the background. So we're using the extra paint to paint the background. And try to get as much of that off as possible. So you see it's getting really scratchy here. And then also, if you want to use this white paper, the plain white paper, you can use that as well to wipe off your brush. Okay, so there's still a little bit of paint on there, but it's not wet paint, so we're good. So now I am going to paint my leaves. You do have to be careful with the black because it is not dry. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit of white into my flowers and my leaves. But you need to make sure that your brush is nice and clean. So as I wipe my brush on the paper, there's not a lot of paint coming off of it. That's how I know that I'm ready. So I'm just going to get a little bit of white, not a ton, and just kind of add some highlights. A color for your vase. So I'm going to kind of wipe off this white, and since it's a little bit greenish, I may kind of choose a color in that family, so a blue or a purple, something in the cool color family. I could use a blue and a purple. And you're going to paint just short vertical brush strokes. And then at the end, you can add a little bit of white to highlight. And then I might wipe off some of that purple in my ground over here, or my table. So before you get the white, you need to wipe off your brush. Your brush cannot have a bunch of paint on it when you get the white, or else you're going to muddy up the white paint. So I'm going to get a little bit of white, and I'm going to just add that highlight. White tints colors. It's called a tint when you add white. It's just a little highlight. And there we have it. You don't have to paint the entire paper. And you should be able to get this done today. These look awesome. They're really pretty easy. It's all about controlling the paint on your brush. When you're totally finished, just leave your two brushes at your table, and I will get a helper to either rinse them out real quick at the end of class, or I'll come pick them all up and rinse them out. But just wipe all your excess paint onto your white sheet. And if you look at my white sheet of paper, it does not have thick paint on it, so this could actually be used for the next class. So if it is just kind of dry, scratchy paint, leave it for the next class. If it's really thick, wet paint on your white paper, you'll need to throw this paper away, not your messy mat, but just the white paper, and get a new white paper for the next person in the next class. So you have to make a decision here. I can put my hand on this and not get paint on my hand because this is dry and scratchy. But if it's wet, throw it away and get a new one for the next class. Then just lay these on top and someone will wash these. This will go on the drying rack.